Chapter 25. Do Not Disturbed. For 3 days, I throw myself into a manic schedule of round-the-clock shopping and working out to distract myself from the fact that Adam still hasn't called. I only stop moving long enough to text Stephanie and Justin asking if Adam is going to call. Both have stopped responding, and I don't blame them. Finally, when I'm on the verge of crawling out of my skin, I drive across town to the Daily Pledges alumni meeting. As I'm just about to take a seat, Justin taps me on the shoulder. "There you are," I yell, getting dirty looks from a few people standing around me. "Where the hell have you been?" An emaciated man with a shaved head and tattoos covering every part of his skin glares, and so Justin grabs my hand and starts to lead me out the front door of the meeting. As we pass people, I feel the weight of their stares on me. It's strange because before the column and all the hype, I'd have sworn up and down that I could never receive too much attention. But I hadn't been prepared for what comes with it. I feel like I hear whispering now wherever I go, and I'm not sure if it's real or that Coke has left me permanently paranoid. I'll walk by 2 girls and swear I hear one of them mention party girl or the word column or something, and then I'll feel them dissect everything about me. Are they criticizing what I'm wearing, deciding I should be more put together? Are they accusing me of not really being sober, speculating that a girl who lounges in champagne-soaked magazine shots couldn't possibly be clean? While recovery has taught me that what people think of me is none of my business, I also hadn't really been prepared to have to remind myself of that so many times a day. "Ick," I say to Justin as we make it outside and I light 2 cigarettes. "What?" he asks as I hand him one of the smokes. "The way people look at me now is annoying," I say, wishing that he'd noticed this without me having to point it out to him. "Oh, Amelia," he says, flicking his cigarette ash to the ground. "Most people are just thinking about themselves. I think you're too in your head and just being a typical self-absorbed addict." For some reason, I want to take my lit cigarette and mash it into his face, or at least onto his hand, where it wouldn't cause as notable a scar. While the whole world seems to have jumped up to speed and is treating me like I'm worthy of being celebrated, Justin has barely seemed to notice. And suddenly I hate him for this. I've always really liked friends agreeing with what I'm saying. In fact, if they disagree or don't seem to want to indulge in the conversation, I feel like they've broken some unspoken contract we have about always backing each other up. In recovery, people are always saying things like, "I'm not going to co-sign your BS," or "You're so in your head," and I suddenly feel myself as much annoyed with the recovery world as I am with Justin. "Whatever," I say, not even looking at Justin. "They're probably just jealous." I pause and then, "Did you get my messages? Do you understand I've been heartbroken?" Justin takes a drag off his cigarette and nods as he exhales. "Look, I've got something to tell you," he says after a beat. "Shoot." He's still bugging me, but I'm willing to let it go. He tosses his cigarette to the ground and smashes it out. "I'm not really sober," he says. "What?" I feel suddenly dropped into a moment of surreality. He's lying, I think. He's sober a week longer than me, and I have almost 6 months. "That doesn't even make sense," I say, feeling myself start to panic. "How is that possible?" "Well, I smoked pot last week, had a couple beers a few nights ago, and the night before last stayed up all night with this guy I met at a coffee shop on Santa Monica, doing blow until sunrise." He says all this completely casually, like he's explaining the errands he ran at lunchtime yesterday. Where the hell are his emotions? "Why would you do that?" I ask. And even though I can hear my accusing tone and know it's not the right one to have, I can't seem to stop it. "Why, hell if I know, maybe because I'm an addict." "Well, how did it happen?" I ask. "Well," Justin looks down sadly. "I moved back in with Jason and everything was amazing at first. Turns out I must have been the one instigating all the fights before, because with all my new rehab knowledge, we were suddenly one of those sickeningly perfect couples planning picnics at the Hollywood Bowl, going antiquing on the weekends and all that. And then something has kicked in, some almost maternal instinct that makes it feel like the only thing in the world that matters is making sure Justin is okay." I put my hand on his shoulder and squeeze. "Nothing monumental," he says. "Jesus, I wish it had been. We just started hanging out with other couples, going to drag strip, house parties, dinners, whatever. And they all drank. Wine with dinner, beer at house parties, nothing big. I mean, none of them drank alcoholically." I nod. I'd noticed the same thing when I went out to dinner with some publicists. One of them ordered a glass of wine and nursed that same glass the entire night, and the other had a gin and tonic, a single gin and tonic. And I'd sat there silently marveling over what would make someone want to drink just one drink, when all one ever did to me was make me achy, tired, and coke hungry. Tommy would tell us that when a normal person drinks and starts to feel a little buzzed, they see a figurative red light and know that it's their cue to stop drinking. When an alcoholic feels a buzz, all they see, he says, is a green light. Justin continues, and then last week it occurred to me that smoking pot wouldn't really be such a bad thing, that it didn't really count. He takes a breath. I didn't tell my sponsor or anyone, and nothing bad happened when I did it. So then I had a couple of drinks with Jason. He doesn't know anything about recovery, just what I tell him, really. And when I explained that drinking would be cool as long as I only had a few, he bought it. Cut to a couple nights later, me coked out of my gourd at this total stranger's house. Was it horrible? I ask, and my whole body clenches in anticipation of his answer. I picture Justin, teeth grinding, paranoid as hell, getting creeped out by this weird guy and tearfully calling his sponsor. I wish I could say it was, he says, but it was really fun. I don't know why people say that a head full of recovery and a body full of chemicals is a bad combination, because I felt amazing. It was nice to just get out of my head for once, you know? That's when I feel horribly betrayed. Why is he acting like this? Why isn't he horrified and crying, begging me to understand the way other people who relapse do? Even when I remind myself that this could be Justin's quote-unquote disease talking, I resent him for casually embracing a way of thinking that's different from the one we've shared since we met. And I feel something else, jealous. I want to be able to get out of my head, to have coke rush up my nose and through my veins, and to not feel guilty about it. But then I remind myself that that's my disease talking, and that I know for a fact that even allowing my thoughts to go here is wrong. So I say what I know I'm supposed to. You should call your sponsor, I tell him gently, and share about it in meetings. He nods. I know, he says, I just don't feel ready yet. We sit there in silence, and I glance back in the meeting. I'm just really sort of weirded out by this, I finally say. I know, he says, and looks uncomfortable. Then he catches my eye and says, I love you, Amelia, and I could really use your support right now. It's the first time Justin has ever told me he loves me, so I'm surprised. He and I have never gotten as into the I love yous as the rest of the Pledges people. And even though I grew up in a family where we said those 3 words constantly, it always felt obligatory, like it was the way you had to end a conversation, whether it was true or not. So I always feel my neuroses kick in at a moment like this and think, wait, do I really love that person? I don't even know them well enough to say for sure. And then I start to feel disingenuous. I love you too, Justin, I finally say. But the sentence sounds and feels awkward, and we both just stand there uncomfortably as people filter out of the meeting and light their cigarettes.